Okay, since I last checked in, I've installed the exhaust back on the old girl. Put the pedals back in, which I got all this wire and harness hanging down here, but emergency brake. I mounted this little guy, which is a little boss that you are supposed to tack weld on there before you paint, or in this case I wrapped or lined my floor pan, so I drilled it, bolted it in from the underside. It actually pulls up when you step on the e-brake, so if anything it's going to be stronger than the original. Around here I've mounted my CD ignition. I've hooked up all my brake lines. I think I may already had that. You can see I'm getting ready to run it. I've got the old boat tank in here because I don't want to put gas in my two new tanks because I don't want it to get old in there. I don't know how fast this project's going to move forward. I just want to be able to run things around the yard a little bit. You can see my accelerator rod boot is on over there. All that white stuff behind it is firewall insulation. I'm gonna probably try to trim that up a little bit. If worst case, I'll paint it black. Got my new Motorcraft labeled regulator. Looks a little better than the rusty chrome one I had on there. I've put a battery in it. It's just sitting in there. Yeah, the battery cables are ready to go. So this fuel line actually goes all the way down to the fuel pump, and I'll utilize the fuel pump. Got this little chicken shit filter on there that will hopefully catch any old trash coming up out of the fuel pump, because this motor hasn't run in like 5 years. I'm sure I'm going to have to open that up at some point, but I'm going to try to start it without, just to see what it does. And it took about 30 seconds to find my first fuel leak. So I'm priming it with this boat bulb. So I need to replace that little 3-inch piece of 3/8 hose. I also filled this thing up with filled coolant and checked the oil. Oil's there. I have not checked transmission fluid, but I'll do that here in a minute. Okay, here goes nothing. Sounded bad. Sounded real bad. See if I can figure out what that horrific noise was. Okay, that was the fan blade hitting on the fan shroud. Still sounds like it's into it, which I thought it might be. So make an adjustment. Okay, made a little adjustment to the radiator mount, the top passenger side or radiator mount, and let's try it one more time. Okay, good news and bad news kind of thing. Good news is it runs. Had a little tap, sounded like a valve tappet. It wasn't a thump like a rod, or a tap like a tappet. And I think it just took a while for one of the lifters to fill back up because it quietened down. And the motor has been sitting for about 5 years. I topped off the power steering box and it was kind of foaming, and it puked out the top. That's overflow. There's nothing leaking. It came out of the lid here. So I think it was just aerating because it was low. I had those hoses off. I forgot to top it back off. I'm hoping once all the foam settles back down it'll be good. The bad news is I put a gallon of ATF in the thing and it still isn't on the stick. And I was pretty sure that I had filled it back up after I changed the seals, but I must not have. But you see there's nothing leaking on the ground. So it must have just been crazy low. And maybe my memory's just bad. It's been a long time ago that I did that too. So I'm gonna run up and get another gallon of ATF. It won't drive right now. It won't engage into gear. So, and like I say, it's still not on the stick after almost a gallon. It was a gallon jug, but there was maybe a quart out of it already, so I'm gonna get some more. We'll see what happens. Alright, so that went better than I expected. Got a couple little issues. The leak from the steering box has calmed down. All the foam went away. Nice clean liquid in there now, so that seems to be resolved. I had to add quite a bit of transmission fluid to get it up to the proper fill level, but I don't see that shiny spot there. Is not from, that's from the steering box when I had the truck backed up a little bit earlier. There's no leak from the automatic C4, so I'm somewhat relieved about that. Drove it around the yard, out into the street. I desperately needed to bleed the brakes. It got a little exciting. It will stop, but you're to the firewall with the pedal. So I'm going to call it a success and go in and watch some football. Today is AFC and NFC championship games. The Bucks are out, so I'm not sure who I'm going to pull for. But anyway, hopefully it'll be some good football.